Red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light, red light.
Well, folks, grab yourself a pint, pull up a chair. It's another episode of the Soul Sessions. It is your course, me, Soul, the host of this. Absolutely, I did not botch my intro there. No going to botchamania there. Fuck no. Nonetheless, I have my boy Andy from Bleeding Gums Wrestling back as always, mate. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm petrified for this weekend, but I'm doing all right.
Oh, come on. We'll be fine as always, mate. We smashed it as we do. But of course,
I know, but good stressed, but good stress. It's a bit fucking ridiculous. I mean, we just announced like 5 minutes before we went on here the last match for the show, that's even fucking ridiculous and stupid as it is anyway. So that's all good. It's all fine.
I feel like that's the Bleeding Gums motto: pro glass, pro death matches, pro stupidity, and just winning as we go. But we do well, mate. We do well. But of course, mate, since we last had you on, it was going into Clash at the Castle weekend, and we did obviously the freeway show. I'll go to ask though, Clash at the Castle, still a glorified house show, yeah?
Oh yeah, it was shite. It was a pile of absolute utter shite. I didn't. The show that we called is now finally going to be up on IWTV eventually after I put it Backlash. The two matches that me and Soul did for that are finally going up because I tried to put them on YouTube a couple of times and I kept getting like the channel nearly got shut down for copyright strikes, which is great fun. So I'm putting that on IWTV. It should be up hopefully before this weekend, I'd imagine. So I've sent it to IWTV. But yeah, it was a glorified house show. It was shit. It was, but then again, I'm not the target audience for WWE. It was funny to see fucking, what's his name? Drew McIntyre lose. That made me laugh. But the rest of it, like, even when you said that there, I'm like, what even happened at that show? There was Gable against Sami Zayn.
Yep.
That match. Bayley was against someone.
Piper Niven,
Chelsea Green.
Yeah,
that's as much as I can remember, really. But like I said to you before we came on about the Germany stuff, like WWE, they don't have like long pay-per-views anymore, so there's not really like, I don't know. It just feels weird. It's like it doesn't seem like a quote-unquote pay-per-view to me because there's like 5 matches.
I know. I mean, I get it. Some people say, "Oh, I like the 5 matches because I don't have to stay up late. I can just watch it with my dinner and get through it quickly." But I feel like with the shorter pay-per-views, you're losing out on the.
Yeah, it's not value for money though. That's what I mean. It's fine if you're sitting in your house watching it and shit, but if you actually go to the shows, like me and you go to the pay-per-views and shit, it's like it's not. I don't want to watch 14 matches, but I feel like a WWE like show like that probably costs the same amount as an AEW show, and you're getting like 3 times or 2 times the amount of matches that you are at WWE for the same price. That's the only thing that annoys me about it. It's like I feel like a pay-per-view should be like 8 matches. 7 on the main show, 1 pre-show. I think that's like perfect for a big mainstream wrestling show. But I think 5's just too little for the amount that they've got on the roster.
No, yeah, absolutely as well. The amount of people they got, like their fucking tag titles have been defended on pay-per-view since Mania because they've had to cut obviously things for fitting their pay-per-view schedules because it's bloody annoying.
Oh, yeah, I've rewatched Mania recently because I don't remember watching it live. Theory and Waller won the Raw ones, and then Truth and Miz won the SmackDown ones, or something
switching
like
around.
that.
Switching around, and you've got it. But yeah,
I remember rewatching the pay-per-view. But like if you told me like who the fucking Raw or SmackDown tag team champions are, I would be able to tell you.
I know it's such a wasted point as well. But obviously on that card, obviously Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair lost the women tags to Isla Dawn and I can't even remember.
There's so many names. The two Scottish lassies.
Aye, the 2 Scottish lassies. And
it was a nice moment, but then I sort of thought like they're just going to lose them back next week. But I think they're still the women's tag team champions.
No, Jade and Bianca are. They won at Bash of Berlin.
If somebody went to that show, I would have known that. Then again, I was at the SmackDown show before Bash of Berlin. I couldn't tell you what any of the matches were. So there was a women's hardcore match.
Yeah, street fight. Michin and Nia Jax.
It was being in Berlin was great fun, but the actual wrestling part of it was so for what actually remember or went to watch.
Oh mate, I can't believe that you only got tickets for Bash in Berlin. Everybody there's like, yeah, we're gonna get to see Gunther and all, and you're just like slept in your room, hangover.
I saw Gunther at the press conference thing. He did a press conference thing with Randy Orton. It was really weird. Randy Orton was like, I'm like fucking 19th German, and I like a cold Heineken, and people cheered, and I thought, why are we here? I was like, can we not just go somewhere else?
It's more funny as well because Heineken's a Dutch beer.
Yes, and also Gunther's not German.
No, he's Austrian.
He's Austrian. So that's what I mean. He's obviously big over, and there's obviously Ludwig Kaiser and stuff's obviously German and stuff. It was fine being there. The crowd was really, really busy. The arena was pretty cool. I thought the building was sick as fuck, and some of the people that were around and about, me and my friends, were just drunk and swearing and shouting and shit, and they seemed to enjoy it if they could understand us or not. But yeah, I never went to Bash at Berlin.
Oh, well, I'm sure all the WWE marks will be like, how dare he waste a ticket that a fan could have, and then they splurge all their money on merch.
I don't even know how much the tickets were. It's just one of these things that one of my friends who organises all these things, he just organises it and we just pay him money and then we just go. And sometimes we don't go. It was all right.
You cheeky fucker. Well done. That's fair play on your part.
I enjoyed it. I was quick. I just when I woke up, I said this before I went on, I woke up and it was like 8 o'clock at night. I think Germany's an hour ahead, an hour in front of us.
Something like that, yeah.
And I woke up and it was like 8 o'clock, and I think the pay-per-view started at like 6:30 or something.
Mm.
And I was like, well, there's no breaks, there's no pre-show. I was like, I could get an Uber, but then that would probably be like €50. And then by the time I get there, I'd probably just be there for the main event. And I'd miss like basically the whole show. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. It's fine. I can always go to Bash in France next year or wherever the fuck it is.
Oh, whoop-de-doo. And then they'll put on something like, this person's actually from Spain, but we're going to try and appeal to them.
There must be French wrestlers for WWE now. Is there?
I don't even think there is.
Bring back Rene Dupree. I mean, he's Canadian, but still. He's in the UK next week.
I've seen as well, and he's kind of mental to think we're just getting all this crazy stuff happening as well. But you know what? And you are a deathmatch guy. You are a bit of the extreme. So I do need to get your thoughts on something that happened quite recently at AEW All Out.
Yay!
I loved it.
I never sat up and watched the show. I watched the stuff after the fact because someday, if anything like that happens, I'll get messaged about it. And it's like, oh yeah, there was a fucking brutal, nasty CT chair shot to the head. Beautiful. Love that. All the fucking crybabies, AW crybabies were moaning about that and saying no chair shots to the head and everything. I mean, it's disgusting, but at the end of the day, they're consenting adults. And if they want to get hit in the head with fucking chairs, that's their business. You know what I mean? Who are you to tell them what they can and can't do with their bodies? I'm sure it wasn't like a shoot fucking chair shot. Cinder blocks is always cool. We use cinder blocks at Lust for Death. Syringe spots. The gentleman Jack Bennett, who works for us and stuff, uses syringes all the time, and syringes are like a big part of his like gimmick and appeal and stuff like that. So yeah, it's lovely, it's great, and I'm so happy that people are complaining about it. And light tubes in the women's match as well.
Always nice. Absolutely. We're going to start with obviously with Hangman and Swerve. Obviously, we mentioned there the syringe. Swerve used a piece of his burnt house that Hangman burned down to stab him in the head.
I saw that promo, and like I've not watched anything leading up to that, and I was just like, that's cool. But I was like, why is he burning down his house? I was like, that's a bit extreme.
So it was kind of funny because they mentioned it online and showed it in the show that Swerve bought his childhood home with his new contract, and there was all like a little, it was all lovey-dovey, and then at the end you just see Hangman like, nah, fuck this, I'm burning this shit to the ground.
It looked cool. It looked really, really cool. It takes me back to, I don't know if you'd even remember watching this. Back, it was like WrestleMania. I want to say 25. It was Jeff Hardy against Matt Hardy, and Matt Hardy burnt down Jeff Hardy's house and killed his dog. That's part of the storyline. A terrible match that was. Surprisingly, because the Hardy was, you thought it'd be good. But yeah, it just reminded me of that, burning down his house. But look cool. But yeah, Hangman and Swerve, that match was class. I did watch that whole match. I enjoyed it.
I really liked it as well. But we mentioned obviously like the chair shot. You know, they are consenting adults, they are performers. They we're not, from obviously my point of view, and obviously fans, we are not there to critique what they put in plan into their matches. They are the performers, and they are the ones that basically are going to live with the repercussions or whatever of it. So they are the consenting adults. But why do you think people are so disgusted of like the syringe spot? Because I've seen people like, this is outrageous, this is stomach turn, and I'm just like, I've seen fucking worse than Bleeding Gums Wrestling's debut show. Why are you all fucking doing?
It's like when you're in this sort of bubble of deathmatch wrestling, the stuff that like I watch and like to for yourself as well, like coming into watching Bleeding Gums and stuff, like that's tame as fuck. Like I've seen people get dropped on razor blade boards and knives and fucking all this shit, and the stuff for the plastic bag, they stole that from Schlack. That Schlack's gimmick. What are they stealing that for? But it is nice to see stuff like that on the main stage. I'm glad that people are disgusted and horrified by it, because it might give us some more press. So it's always nice.
Wow, will be the one indeed. But and then obviously the women's as well. I'm kind of surprised they're annoyed about the men's, but not the women's. When the women's were using light tubes and thumbtacks and dog collar chains.
I think it's like with the syringes. I don't know what it is about it. It's just I think like it's like my girlfriend. She's got a phobia. Well, I don't know if it's a real phobia, but she's like terrified of needles. But it's like people being blasted in the head with light tubes and that. People are, oh, that's fine. But if the minute somebody puts a syringe through, because it's essentially a pretty safe. It's you just stabbing it a little bit to your cheek. Like people have got piercings and you know what I mean, all this sort of shit. So it's not anything as bad as that. But I just think the look of it, and obviously you've got the fluid and everything coming out and shit. It's a cool spot. But like for this point in deathmatch wrestling, like I've seen a syringe spot like every show for like the last like 10 years or something. So yeah, but it's good that people hate it, and hopefully they do more of it, and it might make me actually watch AEW more often.
Oh, who knows? Maybe they'll do it at Wembley next year and we can get you there and, you know, not
sleep in. They had skiers at Wembley last year.
Yeah, last year they did. That was fun as well. Well, obviously, I mean, this year at All In, they had obviously the FTW title match with Jericho and Hook.
I've seen that whole pay-per-view now.
Oh, thoughts?
It's all right. It's all right. I'm going to get another glass of wine. 2 seconds. I enjoyed it for what it was. The only match I've not seen, funnily enough, is the main event.
Oh wow, the main event, the one where Bryan Danielson puts his career on the line, and he's like,
we were building weapons for the show. Me and Brian, shout to Brian, and we were sitting in mine, and he's got the AEW Plus package thing on Fight because I don't have it on my Fight, and he was like, oh, do you want to put it on the pay-per-view? So we watched the whole pay-per-view, but then when that match came on, it was like pretty much the end of the night. So yeah, I've seen the whole pay-per-view now, but it was pretty good. I enjoyed most of it, I think. I'd have to like try and remember what even happened on the show, like, but it was good.
Oh, too much.
I think it was better than the Wembley show I went to.
The first one. Yeah, I agree as well. I thought it was better than the first Wembley show. I thought it was really, really, really good. Even better than Mania 40, which I know I'm just going to piss a lot of people off with that statement, but
I've rewatched it and it wasn't that good.
Yeah, no. Besides Cody and Roman, I thought everything else was a bit shit.
Come on now, the best match of the whole weekend, the Usos versus each other, 1-on-1, brother versus brother, the best match of all time. One of them wore red, another wore white. Blue. I don't know.
Have you already nicked that wine, you cheeky bastard?
No, I've had one glass, so you get 3 large glasses. So this is my second glass. I had some wine left over from the weekend.
Fair play. But you know, and obviously Bleeding Gums Wrestling has been killing it, and we have to talk about a show that I wasn't at because I was in Mexico, obviously Ice and Wire.
I would rather be in Mexico, in all fairness. When you did say that to me, I was like, you know, fair play. It's like mention somebody that is absent, unfortunately, from the upcoming shows is Tomby. Unfortunately, Tomby can't be at the shows because he's wrestling Rene Dupree on Saturday. And he said that to me, and I was like, you're wrestling Rene Dupree. I was like, that's fair enough. It's like, that's okay. But yeah, you're in Mexico. There's no harm in that. It's better than being in Mexico than being in pissing down fucking horrible Perth. But no, it was a good. The best show was done. An interesting day, stressful day, but it was all right.
No, it looked fun as well. I mean, I even shared a wee bit of tear when I saw a chain link fence and thought, they're all having fun there, and I'm just got a bottle of margaritas, but. It is what it is, brother. But obviously, some matches I obviously want to talk about, obviously, is the opener, which was the Bleeding Gum Wrestling UK Deathmatch title, which was obviously Michael Caden, Tomby, and a surprise announcement that was announced on the social medias that turned out to be the returning Iceman. Obviously, for yourself, Andy, to have Iceman back, obviously he retired for a wee bit, and then he came back. Just to have him back in Bleeding Gums, I want to know what that meant, just to see that moment of his music hitting.
It was interesting when I got the phone call from Iceman saying he's like, I want to come back, and he's like, have you got space for me? I was like, you fucking joking? I was like, you're Iceman. I was like, of course I've got fucking space for you. But I thought it kind of wrote itself. The Iceman returning in the Ice Factory. The music got a big pop. Like throughout the week or the couple of weeks before that, a lot of people were messaging me and like they didn't really know who they were like saying if it was going to be an American name and all these. Like, nobody guessed Iceman, so I was pretty happy. But no, Iceman's the godfather of British deathmatch wrestling. Without him, there is no deathmatch wrestling. So having him at any show and him doing anything for us is always good. And as long as Iceman wants to wrestle, I'm happy to have Iceman in every show that we're doing. And we've got him having 2 mental matches this Saturday. One of which is like a genuine dream match. I know the dream match gets thrown around a lot in independent wrestling or wrestling in general, but a genuine dream match at Death Dart. But yeah, having Iceman back was great. And he did really, really well. And then in the main event, he got thrown through a big barbed wire net to the floor, which was great.
Welcome back. Here's a net.
No.
That's the truth on a bit. Obviously, there was other great matches, but obviously 2 more I want to really focus on. Obviously, was the CXW Tag Team Title Death Match. Britain's top team defeating the vulgar display of straight-edged violence.
Yep.
To have obviously their tag team titles be defended in Bleeding Gums Wrestling when there isn't a tag team championship for people to chase or a real true division.
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, surprises.
Not yet.
All right.
Spoilers. I won't spoil too much, but just before you carry on, sorry, just the match that I announced tonight, that's that 4-way gauntlet, has implications going forward for possible tag team related golden things at some point in the future in Bleeding Gums Wrestling. Because I like some tag team wrestling, but I like deathmatch tag team, tornado tag team wrestling a lot more than just standard tag matches. But anyway, carry on.
Oh, that's what you're gonna do. You got me excited. I'll get my. I know I sent you that old design there. That honestly, I was half cut.
Yep.
It was shit design. I was half cut at 2 a.m. Fucking like fuck it. I could do graphic design. No,
that's when people do their best work. In my experience. Where the fuck's my?
Well, that helps, but obviously, just to have British top team, they've actually gone a bit of a change now. Obviously, because I've had Brett Stemtex and Lou Nixon on the show. Obviously, since you were here last, and Brett brought up the thing about obviously Darwin kind of disbanding the team in his point.
Oh God, that was what a heel. That was brilliant. Darwin swapped the British top team and stole the Rise Heavyweight Championship. What a cunt! What a dastardly cunt. But I think with the CXW stuff, we've also got Tim Strange defending their Extreme Championship this Saturday as well. But Paris, who runs CXW, is somebody that I know relatively quite well now. They've been on the go maybe a year or so longer than us, maybe a couple of years longer than us. A lot of their stuff's been family shows. They did their first deathmatch show the week after Wire Nice, I think, something like that, a couple of weeks after. But Paris is a great guy, so I'm always happy to have CXW stuff on our shows, and I think it'd be likewise the other way around as well, because Paris and CXW are good people.
True, exactly. And it was a hell of a match as well. And even though I wasn't at the show, I actually own a part of that show because I have Brett and Lou's gear behind me.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's true. And Jasmin St.Clare was there as well.
Yes, all right, indeed. Jasmin St.Clare. Obviously, when you announced her coming over, I was like, okay, I'm not too familiar. How do we look? I was like, oh, interesting. For maybe viewers who are not familiar, who is Jasmin St.Clare?
Jasmin St.Clare is known for many different things through wrestling and pornography. So Jasmin St.Clare, very sort of famous porn star, like sort of early 2000s, but she was in original days XPW. She was also in ECW in 2000. She was the manager and then I believe wife or girlfriend of the Blue Meanie. In 2000, then when ECW shut down, her and Meanie started a company in Philadelphia called 3PW. Propane Pro Wrestling, which ran for about 2-3 years, but Jasmin was essentially involved in running that. But and then recently, until obviously a lot of people have kind of like ventured away from XPW for various different reasons, she was involved in XPW. She was with the Necro Butcher. Now she's with Madman Pondo and stuff like that. So yeah, Jasmin's been involved in wrestling and stuff like that for a long, long time, for like 20 odd fucking years. So yeah, having her involved was very interesting. She's fucking lovely as well. So we've got her back this Saturday as well. Jasmin's involved with both the shows. So yeah, pretty mental to have Jasmin St.Clare just randomly at shows and stuff like that. But no, she's very, very nice and very complimentary of us. And she was down at CXW as well, just after our show down for them. So yeah, pretty good.
Excellent. I know. I was hoping there was like, oh, I hope he's not replaced me. Fuck, I go on holiday for 2 weeks.
No.
Oh, you're too kind, big man. You're too kind. One match, obviously, I was a bit disappointed not there to see. Obviously, with the no rope barbed wire match, Jack Harrop against Alton Thorne.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, fucking hell.
That was mad. It was kind of. I was terrified that like the show was going to run late for setting up the wire, but we actually finished on time, believe it or not. We had 2 sides of wire with barbed wire boards, sheets of glass, barbed wire light tube bundles. Something wrestling, who you've had on the channel, made a fucking big light tube sword, but it had a GoPro on the top of it, so you got to see the GoPro's angle of it being smashed through Thorne. But yeah, those two beat the fuck out of each other. Iceman came in and got thrown through a barbed wire web to the outside onto the concrete floor, which is terrifying. But yeah, and Jack Harrop ended up beating Alton Thorne with a spinebuster through a sheet of glass and then a roll up. But yeah, it was a great match. It was amazing. It was, I don't know, I can't really put it into words because it was weird because it was like the first show that my dad's been there as well.
Oh wow!
And, like, that Johnny Cash song like came on and my dad was like, I reckon. I was like, yeah, I know, Dad. He was like, you played me that when when I was like fucking 13 or something for Alton Thorne's entrance and stuff. But Thorne like carried down the big barbed wire crucifix.
Yeah.
And the fucking flag gets caught in it. And like to start with, I was kind of like, oh fuck. But then I was like, he's kind of like, he's got a cross to bear and he's carrying the company on his back. And the symbolism of shit, like it just worked. Like all these little stupid things that kind of like happened, they all just kind of worked. And no one died, which was really nice, which is beneficial. And Iceman and Jack Harrop's missus were both in the crowd for their matches, which made it even more stressful for me because I was like, oh, please God. I was like, I don't want them to fucking hate me as well for if anything happens. But no, I'm only joking. But everyone was fine. Everybody was safe. And we managed to actually get back to Kirkcaldy, me, Brian, and my missus, and actually have a pint like before it closed at like midnight, which was nice. But it was a really, really good show. I think it's the best show that we've done. But yeah, it was awesome, and onwards and upwards to arguably the scariest weekend of my entire life that's coming up this weekend. But
indeed, mate, indeed. Now, before we get into that, I need to ask a personal question. How was Spotify this show?
It was all right. But see, that this time now we've got. I'm not using Spotify anymore. I've got Mark Leslie. Shout to Mark Leslie to fix all that. So everything should, in theory, work. And we're changing the room round slightly.
Oh.
So remember when we were there last time, the entranceway was where the bar was?
Yes.
You know the door where Joe and Looking Sharp went outside?
Yeah.
That's now the entrance.
Okay.
We're putting all the merch back the other side, and the bit up the top where we had the merchandise, we're going to use that for fans. So we've got a lot more like space for the ring and stuff like that. So the room's it's going to look like a different, I don't know if it's going to look like a different venue, but it's going to look different on camera than what it was before. Because it's a bit of pain in the arse for like having plug points and Spotify problems and shit like that. But it'll be good. It'll be good. Hopefully.
Is that disco ball still going to be fucking there?
I hope not. No, it probably will be. But the fact is now that if we move the way that the room's been moved around now, we can move the ring slightly away from the disco ball. So it means that it won't be directly underneath it. It'll probably just be like covering like up a corner, if you know what I mean. So there's still going to be a lot of space for everybody. But I just think it'll work better and it'll look better for entrances and stuff, and we'll have more lights and shit. The little things in independent wrestling, nobody pays attention to. But
yeah, no, definitely. Fuck Spotify, because fuck me, that was a pain in the arse last time. But hey, sorted, simple, easy now. Obviously, main thing is obviously this coming weekend, Saturday the 14th of September, Double Death Day. You got 2 shows, mate. I do want to ask, obviously, what was the thoughts about making it, 2 shows in the one day?
Because fuck paying for everybody's hotels for 2 days. Fuck paying the venue for 2 days. Fuck it. I know, it's just 2 seconds. I'm going to grab an ashtray and I'll moan. I should have an ashtray somewhere. Oh, there, I've got one.
Hey!
You know the best thing to do if anybody smokes? These Yankee Candle lids are great ashtrays. Anyway, so in my experience, and I'm just talking at this from me personally being a fan who goes, I've been to a lot of doubleheaders for Rise and TNT and stuff like that. The fans, the wrestlers, the promoters, on day 2, everybody is fucked. Everybody's injured and hungover and on come downs, and they can't be arsed. And the second day, not saying that people don't put in good performances, but I feel like having everything all in one day, everybody's all focused on the one day, and then afterwards, everybody can party their arses off and everyone's fine. Mm-hmm. And then you're also, because then if you've got 2 days, you have to pay the venue for 2 days. Then you have to pay people's hotels for 2 days. And I think it works a lot better having everything all at once rather than splitting it up and people being, because even for the wrestlers themselves, like they're still running on adrenaline going into the second show. They've not had an entire day to like lie in bed, and they're going to be all sore and banged up and shit where they can go. The next day they can just spend it in bed. They don't have to bother, like struggling to put their boots on and shit after doing death matches and stuff like that. So I think it just works better for everybody, and people who enjoy a drink and a smoke and other substances can spend the next day dying, basically. And it saves us, I think what we're possibly going to be doing, I'll extend the invitation to yourself as well. We'll be coming to Edinburgh the next day. Myself, Casey, Bateman, Tremont, Shoes, Newman, I think Brian and Mark will be there as well. And yourself, if you want to come along, I think we're going to go and take them to the castle and then maybe go for some food and shit. Because I think I had Joe Bateman as well. I think everybody's basically here until the Sunday night, Monday morning's their flight away. So I feel like I can't just bring all these, deathmatch legends to Kirkcaldy. you know what I mean? I feel as if I've kind of got to at least show them a real place or a real city, a bit of tourism, not just, they can't just come to Kirkcaldy and then go back to America. That's pretty bad crack. So I thought I was wanting to do it maybe the day before, but then that would just cause far too much issues because we're going to be doing too much. So it was the day after, we can all hobble around hungover and we can go to the castle. And because Casey and Tremont and Bateman have never seen it before, and they'll mark out because they're Americans and Australians and shit. So that's the plan.
Yeah, and I could just show them where I've seen people. I'll be like, this is a street where people have passed out in the picture. This is where people get caught. So,
it's fine. But that's the simple answer to it. It's a lot better emotionally, mentally, physically, and financially, I think, for everybody if it's all just one day as opposed to splitting over a weekend.
Of course, absolutely as well. And I know you've offered obviously you offered combo tickets for the two shows and obviously VIPs as well. How's it been doing this? Do you feel like it's been great for ticket sales wise? Putting two things is very enticing for people.
I think it's been decent. I think that obviously it's slightly higher priced. It's a tenner or more than our last tickets were for Wire Nice. But I feel like the way for it being slightly more expensive is there's Matt Tremont's there, Joe Bateman's there, Casey Kirk's there. It's kind of enticing. The tickets are doing really, really well. I think a lot of people are getting the combo thing, but I know that it's obviously not feasible for everybody to possibly get to both shows. So that's why I tried to make both shows at least as good as each other. I didn't just want to make just the afternoon kind of just half-assed. I think that the afternoon looks pretty fucking mental itself. I didn't just want people to think, oh, we don't have to fucking bother about the afternoon. The evening show's the main event type thing. The tickets are going well for it.
Oh, excellent, man. Obviously, and you mentioned the three names there, Joel Bateman, Casey Cattell, and Matt Tremont coming over. I know Matt Tremont, I've seen his stuff, but obviously Casey Cattell and Joel Bateman are people I'm not too familiar with. So I was wondering if you could educate me and maybe some of my viewers on these three individuals.
For Casey, she's probably, I would say easily, probably the best women's American deathmatch wrestler, probably, I would say maybe ever. She's won the ICW No Holds Barred American Deathmatch Championship. She beat Joel Bateman for that. She's had mental matches with Tremont, with her husband, who's Brandon Kirk. They were both over for the Rise thing. She appears in GCW. She wrestles for H2O. She used to wrestle for ICW No Holds Barred. Casey's been everywhere, and she's fucking great. So we're very, very lucky to have her. Joel Bateman from Australia runs a company called Deathmatch Down Under. which is sort of Australia's only. Well, I would say only. There's two other companies that run in Australia, AOW and Dude, Where's My Ring? But they're kind of like slightly smaller companies to where what's Deathmatch Down Under? Too many abbreviations. Deathmatch Down Under was sort of like, they started out as like sort of Australia's main deathmatch and only deathmatch company, and then these other companies have kind of like came around. But those other companies also feature Joel Bateman. But yeah, he's a psychopath. He's been over to America plenty. He's away to Tournament of Death the week after Double Death Day. So's Big Joe. So's Darko. And obviously Matt Tremont's arguably fucking like one of the most decorated deathmatch wrestlers of all time. So it's there's three big names, three very different wrestlers, but three people who are all friends with each other as well. And in the case of Tremont and Bateman, they are both people that run their own companies. Like Matt Tremont runs H2O, which is, I wouldn't say predominantly a deathmatch company, but they do a lot of death matches, hence Matt Tremont's there. But yeah, having people like that's really, really good. Like same for having like people like Looking Sharp and things like that. Having people that run their own stuff's very helpful to have them involved too. Because like I've only been doing this a year. I'd quite like, you know, it's handy to have like people to stand there and actually give advice and stuff like that. But yeah, three big fucking names.
Indeed. And obviously, you mentioned the match earlier. That was kind of the dream match one, which was obviously Iceman versus Matt Tremont in a 200 tubes death match.
Yeah.
Where the fuck did you find 200 light tubes, mate? Fucking hell.
Oh, I don't know, Christ. So I don't even want to say how many's in this. Like, I think all together in the 4 or 5 locations that I have things, like we've probably got easy 3,000 stockpiled of tubes. I've got like, my girlfriend came in the house like the other day after we finished building stuff. She's like, it's like a fucking torture chamber. She wasn't very happy because like there's barbed wire and there's tubes and there's carpet strips and there's glass and there's tacks and there's fucking all sorts of shit in here. But yeah, 200 tubes. Tremont was meant to be over for, there was a Rise weekender, not last year, 2 years ago, I can't even remember. But it was meant to be Iceman versus Tremont, but Tremont had like troubles with his passport and stuff, so it never ever happened. So that match was meant to happen like 2 years ago, and now it's actually finally happening in Scotland. And Iceman wanted 200 tubes, so I was like, yeah, no worries, we can do 200 tubes. Can't say no to the Iceman. So yeah, that'll be a dream match for a lot of wrestling fans, American or British or otherwise, because they're two legends. And they were going to beat the fucking shit out of each other. So yeah, it should be an interesting match, that.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be bringing a poncho or something for this, because if I get this suit stained blood red, I'm going to be a bit annoyed. Nonetheless, obviously, that will be happening on the Death to Art show, but on that show as well, obviously, will be Casey Cattell versus Lunix in the state of this fucking Who's Death match.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you come up with these names, mate? God damn.
I thought that was quite an amusing name. Not to spoil too much of it, but it's essentially deathmatch good housekeeping, if you can imagine what that would entail. But yeah, so we've got that. Casey and Lou both wanted to work with each other for a long time now, and so the first time they were getting to do it, that'll be decent. And yeah, state of this fucking Who's Death match, because I think that the Scottish and the Geordie dialect goes quite well together, so it'll be fine. I don't know if Casey really understands what it means, but it'll be fine.
Well, it'll be something. But obviously, there's the afternoon show as well, which is Caution, Death Can Be Hazardous to Your Health, which will be happening in the afternoon at the Beveridge Park Hotel. What the hell is the Sea of Claret death match, which will be facing Darko, Sharp, Joe, and Bateman?
I ain't spoiling what it is. It's going to be, there's going to be a lot of fucking blood and a lot of horrible. If you think fucking AEW was bad, wait till you come get tickets to this that show. Oh no, I'm not spoiling anything. That's going to be a fucking bloodbath, that match.
Tell you, I think I need to come to Bleeding Gums one time as an interview with a white suit and just progressing throughout the show. It gets bloodier and bloodier.
Covered. Then you could sell it afterwards. Everybody likes to see the bloody gear. But yeah, the Sea of Claret, it was more like it's Darko and Bateman have wrestled each other before. They wrestled each other at ICW Olds Bar Mania weekend. They had a razor blade board death match, which is fucking nuts. Obviously, we've got the history with Looking Sharp and Big Joe. They had that match at Wire and Ice, which was fucking nuts. bleat the shit out of each other with light tubes. So it's kind of coming together of those two matches. Plus, Looking Sharp's not had the opportunity to wrestle Darko, and Joe Bateman also, and all the times he's been over to America, he's never been in the ring with Big Joe. So I just thought, you know what, fuck it, 4-way dance, see you Claret, let's go. Yeah, it should be disgusting.
Mate, this is going to be hazardous to people's health, but I'm excited nonetheless because I get to come out and have a good time. That's what I like. But obviously, on that afternoon show as well, Jack Harrop versus Casey Cattell will be happening. Is there obviously Jack Harrop, somebody who's achieved quite a lot, and Casey, a legend in herself. Do you feel like this is kind of maybe of a passing the torch deathmatch thing? Obviously, with maybe Casey and Jack, that kind of legacy there.
I think just with them two, it was just one of these matches where I was like, it's a match that you're not going to see anywhere else. I think that obviously, like, Jack Harrop doing fucking amazing for himself. He's going over to America with the Rise crew and stuff, and they're doing NHB and Rise and H2O and everything like that. But I don't think that you're going to get Casey Cattell versus Jack Harrop anywhere else. So I thought, you know what, fuck it, we'll do it. And I think they'll work really, really well together. And I think that'll be fucking violent as fuck as well. there's like, I would say there's maybe like 2 matches on both shows, like, of the whole weekend that aren't like proper, like, needlessly over the top violent death matches. So be fine.
Absolutely, it'll be fine as well. Now, obviously, the Bleeding Gums Wrestling UK Deathmatch Championship will be defended on both shows. But before I get into that, 2 things I want to bring up, obviously. You mentioned, obviously, before we begin, you mentioned the 4-way tag match, which would be Legends Never Die, Glasgow Grindhouse, Deathmatch Outlaws, and Vulgar Display of Straight Edge Violence, all 4 of these teams. You have mentioned, you've hinted this might be possible implications for something in the future with relating with tag teams. Yeah. But just to have this start up with these 4 amazing teams, what does it mean to have, obviously, these 4, 2, 4, 6, 8 guys represent maybe the start of something big for Bleeding Gums Wrestling?
I think we've got those 4 teams. We've also got the British top team, noticeable by their absence in that match. We've got Lou Nixon there. Brett Semtex, unfortunately, is not on the show. But we will have the British top team in future as well, because we'll have the British top team. But I think that them included with those other teams, I think we've got a fair hefty little fucking tag team division in Bleeding Gums Wrestling, and all of them want to do the hardcore shit, the ultra-violent shit. So not saying that I necessarily don't want tag teams that don't want to do that, but I mean, a lot of, obviously, the basis of the company is deathmatch, so that's kind of the thing. But yeah, it means a lot for me, especially to actually have teams, because I love me some tag team deathmatch wrestling. You never really ever really get to see much of it in the UK, like, at all, really. So yeah, it's really good.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure it'll be stellar. Now, Andy, why the fuck is there a picture of Darwin with a picture of Princess Diana with a love letter to England?
It's Darwin's love letter to England. I don't want to specify exactly what the good doctors wants to do for that, but I think that by that point in the evening, a lot of the Scottish faithful might be a tiny little bit drunk, and it might be a bit rowdy. So it should be quite fucking entertaining. That I'm looking forward to that.
The fact that Princess Diana is on the graphic makes me worried.
But first, he's got to wrestle Davey Blaze in the afternoon, because Darwin, unfortunately, wasn't at Wire and Ice, so Brett Semtex stepped in for Darwin. I think, in hindsight, he probably shouldn't have done that, because Darwin turned on him and fucking beat him for the belt. So I think Brett Semtex will be a bit fucking pissed off. But yeah, Davey Blaze wrestled Semtex and beat him at Wire and Ice. And then now we've finally got Blaze against Darwin. Finally, after months and months and months of Darwin calling him out at Lust for Death.
Oh, I'm nervous for this love letter. I am fucking nervous. But nonetheless, the Bleeding Gums Wrestling UK Deathmatch Championship. The belt, obviously, we talked about and revealed here. We've seen you reunited with yourself at Backlash, and I saw you getting a bit teary-eyed because it is a lovely belt.
I know. I went backstage at Wire and Ice and we look at it, and I thought, there she is. How sad.
Can I just bring it back? But before I get into the 2 matches, I want to review you a wee bit of a statistic. Michael Cading's had 3 defenses of this belt. Obviously, the first time he won it, Wire and Ice and Backlash, and then obviously he'll be defending it 2 more times. He's currently at day 170, according to Goldo Cage Match. It's 170 days he's held this title for.
Your fault, which is mad.
Yeah, hey, you got Meltzer certified as well by the Observer. So
I know. Bloody hell, that was mental. And Alton Thorne messaged me that about the Observer. I was like, what? Observer? But no, maybe you messaged me about it, actually. Somebody messaged me about it, about the Observer. But but Caden's, he won Lust for Death, beat Neil Diamond Cutter. He won that 3-way with Tim Strange and Dean Ford. He beat Iceman and Tomby, and now he's going in to wrestle Lou Nixon in the afternoon, and then against number 1 contender Jack Harrop at night. But then everything could change. Lou Nixon could win the belt, and then it could be Casey against Lou Nixon for that belt later on.
That's the fun thing of it as well. But do you feel like if Caden is able to beat Lou, then go on in the evening and beat Harrop, would that really cement Caden's place within Bleeding Gums Wrestling? Obviously, he's the inaugural champion, but like as the top guy, that a lot of people maybe should fear him as champion if he's able to accomplish this feat.
I think so. I definitely think so. I think already just for winning that tournament, I think he kind of cemented himself as the top guy because he beat Clint Margera, he beat fucking Jack Bennett, he beat Lou King Sharp, and he beat Neil Diamond Cutter all in one night. So yeah, it's going to be a big thing for Caden, and I think this is, I can't even remember. I looked up the statistics on Cage Match as well. I love Cage Match. But I think the last time him and Lou Nixon wrestled each other was like 3 years ago, 1-on-1. So they've not had a proper singles match for a long time for the Deathmatch Outlaws guys. So yeah, it'll be a big night for Caden and a big night for Nixon and for Jack Harrop as well. For the 6 Million Ways to Die deathmatch in the evening, which will be fucking nuts too. So
yeah, no, absolutely as well, and it's really going to be absolutely bonkers as well. But obviously in the future there'll be other great stuff coming to Bleeding Gums Wrestling. Actually, somebody I know, a statesman, a real and raw guy, August Artois, will be coming to Bleeding Gums Wrestling in October. Yeah. Just your thoughts on August coming over, because he's somebody who's quite done some well stuff for him in Thailand. He's FIP World Heavyweight Champion. Just how that came about for obviously August coming over.
A lot of the stuff, just say shout out to Tim Strange. A lot of the stuff to do with August and things has been via Tim Strange. They really got me sort of introduced to him and stuff like that. Same with Lou Nixon. But August is fucking class. Very lucky to have him here. He's also going to be at Valor the day before or the day after. I forget. I think they're running the day after. And then he's also going to be at W3L because obviously we've got the relationship with W3L and Valor and stuff like that. But yeah, having August is fucking amazing. And it's somebody else from America that's coming over, which is still a bit mental because we're not even a year in yet. And it's getting a bit nuts. But no, very happy to have August over because he's very talented. Very good guy.
He is a good guy. He's a funny guy, but he's a good guy. Obviously, this October 5th show, do you have a name for it yet, or is it still in production?
Still in production. Everything will be announced quite late on. Everything will be announced for probably at this weekend show. It's just slightly more difficult than usual, just with the fact that a lot of the roster that we use at Bleeding Gums are going to be over in America that weekend. For the Rise tour, but what are you meant to do? But we've still got a lot of fucking guys here willing to bleed and do fucking great wrestling matches and stuff like that. But yeah, that'll be pretty much announced then this weekend, and that'll be the final show of the year. Thank fuck. Then we can have a break until next year. And I don't have an official date for next year yet, but the first show will be in March, potentially the second last weekend in March or the last Saturday in March, and it'll be Lust for Death 2. So that's spoiler announcement for Soul Sessions for that. Yeah, so that'll be the first show that we do. Probably back at the Beveridge Park Hotel for Lust for Death 2. But I feel like that should be the first show of the year. And I think if we finish in October, then I've got a nice long period where I don't have to really worry about wrestling, and then we can enjoy my Christmas and not have to worry about everything. So pretty much October will be the last one of the year, and then Lust for Death. I'll get official dates and everything announced probably within the next couple of weeks.
Oh, stellar indeed. I do obviously want to ask Andy. Also, you said Lust for Death will be returning in its second incarnation, but will any of the other show names that you've used this year return next year, or is it going to be like every year, maybe a full clean slate?
I've got a lot of names I want to use for shows. I don't know. I think Lust for Death just because it's the tournament. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of the names like Caution, Death Can Be Hazardous to Your Health is just the name that makes me pop because it's a reference to a Columbo episode that nobody's ever seen, nor will anybody ever watch. But which made me laugh. Death to Art's a reference to Tism's latest single, and Tism's new album's out in October. The album called Death to Art, and I messaged Damien Cowell from Tism, one of the singers, and I said, "Can I use this, sir?" And he was like, "That's no problem." So I was like, "Okay." So we get to use Tism stuff for Death to Art, but I'll try and come up with new names. I just think Lust for Death, you just have to keep the tournament every year.
Of course, absolutely. Lust for Death is quite integral. Obviously, Bleeding Gums, obviously the first champion, was crowned on that show. It's a tournament. Everybody loves the tournament, and I think that's an integral part of Deathmatch. I think is the tournament. So obviously, you mentioned the King of the Deathmatch tournaments. Yeah, it's all around. It is truly just an integral part of the DNA for Deathmatch wrestlings. But obviously, I believe this year will be the 1 year anniversary. What is a November 1 year anniversary for Bleeding Gums?
For the first show is November the 18th. So I suppose technically October's. This would be, where are we at? 1, 2. If we're counting Backlash, it would be 3 1/3. We've done. This would be 5 1/3 after this weekend, and then it'd be 6 1/3. So that's essentially 6 1/3 shows in a year. So it's pretty much the anniversary would be the October show. So it's a bit mad for doing it. But we do have these new T-shirts as well. I'll show you the new T-shirts.
Hey.
I don't even see it in the back. Just turn around.
You got it. Death to Art
in the back. Thanks to Tism for that, for letting me use that. I mean, in all fairness, I didn't actually have to message them and ask them, but
look at that. It's been nearly a full year since his first appearance on this show. He's changed his look, and I still look the fucking same. So I mean, hey.
Just because I've got an orange T-shirt on, I'm like almost identical. I've just got a lot more grey hairs and bags under my eyes and stress. But no,
yeah, I got a suit that's like torn in 3 pieces because I need to fucking sew it up properly. But nonetheless, it'll be good.
I'm trying to think for other couple of matches that we've got in the afternoon and in the evening. Is Alton Thorne is taking on Matt Tremont in the afternoon. In a Kirkcaldy Killenfields death match. And I ain't telling anybody what that is either. That'll be fucking horrible. In the best possible way. But and then he's wrestling Joe Bateman at night, and the grass is always bloodier on the other side too. So a big night for Alton Thorne. I love Alton Thorne. He's been with us from the start, good friends with him. And I think he deserves those 2 matches. I think a lot of people were kind of confused when I announced that. Like, why is he getting the shot? I'm like, because he fucking deserves it. So yeah, Thorne against Tremont in the afternoon, then him against Bateman. Crazy.
Hey, truly bloody, isn't he? And these 2 shows, obviously, September 14th. There's obviously are there still tickets available? I can announce, obviously, for like
we've got general admission tickets for both shows. I don't know how many we'll have left by the end of the weekend. Like, I'm off work the next. Well, basically the whole week. So I'll be out in Edinburgh probably tomorrow. I'll be in Dalgetty Bay. I'll be in Leven. I'll be in Kirkcaldy. I'll be everywhere, advertising it and doing whatnot. But we've sold plenty of tickets already, but it's just to try and get that place as full as humanly possible. We've also got the guys back from Public Image who were there for Lust for Death, who were selling cakes and grinders and shit. So shout out to John who runs Public Image. I don't know if you ever watched this or if he even gives a fuck about wrestling, but but John's a good guy and they're good people that work for him. So they're like a sponsor for Bleeding Gums when we do Kirkcaldy shows. But yeah, it's gonna be scary, and me and Brian are collectively terrified for what's gonna happen. But it'll be good, and we'll have yourself there, and we'll have the Wizard, and we'll have Steve Dean, and yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good.
We'll be there indeed, obviously. Actually, it reminded me of something as well. Obviously, the Lust for Death. Wasn't there like a documentary crew or a film project thing there as well?
Yeah, we were on a documentary. That was really weird. Weird in a good way, but like they were like Edinburgh like film uni student people. And they had to do like a final thing, like make like a 10-minute documentary for like their final part of their exam. And then they could pick it to be on anything they wanted. And so they decided to pick Bleeding Gums Wrestling. It's like, and then they interviewed me in the Pear Tree. You might be familiar with that in Edinburgh. And they interviewed me there, and then they came to the show and shit. But the little documentary thing, I'll probably post up eventually. I think they were taking it to some film festivals and stuff before I was going to post it up. But yeah, it's like 8 minutes. but it's still kind of bizarre that somebody's decided to, but they the first time they'd ever seen any wrestling of anything was the ultraviolence referendum. And then that sort of swayed them so much that they wanted to make a fucking documentary and interview a fucking idiot like me, and as part of their university education. I was like, thanks, Edinburgh.
Look at you. You put people through film college. Look at you.
I know, exactly. That's kind of the irony of Death to Art. I still need to do some posters outside the Summer Hall, Edinburgh's biggest art venue.
Oh,
but it'll be fine. And next year we're also going to have another venue that we're going to be going to, somewhere new. I don't want to announce exactly what it's called, but it's in Dundee.
Okay.
Somewhere in Dundee. I know, that's what I thought as well. We've got somewhere in Dundee that's happy to have us, and so that'll be essentially our third place of operations, because the Beveridge Park Hotel is happy to have us all the time. They make a lot of money on the bar and stuff like that. And the Wire and Ice venue, the Ice Factory, we can use that as much as we want, but because it's Scotland, you can hardly use that. I mean, it's obviously got a big fucking tarp canopy thing over the top, but you would hardly run a show there in November. Do you know what I mean? Like, it'd be fucking freezing. There wouldn't be any point. So I think there's like the place in Dundee, the Beveridge Park Hotel, and the Ice Factory we could probably use like once or twice a year. So we've at least got 3 places that are all kind of close to each other. East Scotlandy place type thing. So yeah, it's not too bad to have more places to do the death matches.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can't go back to the Liquid Rooms in Edinburgh because they've shut down.
Have they actually?
Yeah.
Really? Oh, fucking hell! Why? I thought they would have been. I thought they
they lost funding or something. I remember being on BBC News like, "Oh, Liquid Rooms are closing down." And I kind of just giggled to myself like, "Oh yeah, because you won't let Bleeding Gums Wrestling back. So that's why you're back."
Oh no, the Summer Hall was going to shut down.
Oh, Summer Hall, fuck yeah! I
was going to say the Liquid Rooms. I was like, oh god, that's a shame for the Liquid Rooms. No, yeah, the Summer Hall were going to shut down, and I remember people were writing about it. They were like, oh yeah, what a terrible blow it is to the Edinburgh art community. And I was like, there's not a fucking Edinburgh art community. I was like, how dare you? But like, but then no, but like, whatever. Who cares? I'd very very much like to come back to Edinburgh, in the future and do something somewhere, anywhere. Do no ring somewhere, it doesn't matter. I'd love to do stuff in Edinburgh, but doing stuff in Kirkcaldy and Dundee and Perth and stuff's fine for just now. And me and Brian did go to that Noah show. I don't know if you were there.
Oh yeah, the one in Edinburgh.
It was all right. it was generally fine. There was some Mexican tag team, something Bane, something, and Wolf, something.
I've never seen the card, but I was working night shift. I just
he had a beard on his mask. They had an amazing match with Lycos Gym, and some of the other matches were good. But it's like Noah's fine. Like the venue and stuff was cool and shit, but it's still like we went there just to observe and stuff. It's not really my cup of tea, the Noah stuff, but it was still really really good. Saw Ricky Knight Jr. and whoever the Noah champion is and stuff like that, and Grado was there, and Gene Money was there and stuff. It was fine. It was fine.
You had a good time. That's the main thing. I think, my friend, it's always good to have you here on the Soul Sessions. Obviously, this is your 4th appearance. Congratulations. You can put that on your Cage Match profile.
Thank
you. We've done some really good stuff together, I think, as well. Obviously, you were the first promoter to give me my interview opportunity backstage. It's allowed me to do other things. So you've always been very integral to my and this show's growth. So personal thank for me.
No worries at all. And I hope it was good for PWR as well. I saw you were there. That looked fucking cool.
Yeah, that was a busy 2 fucking days, Jesus.
Andy puts on some good shows. I'm not too sure whether he likes deathmatch wrestling or not. I have no idea whether he does or doesn't. But like, I've been to a few shows at Truth and Leaving and stuff, and it's always been fun. So yeah, that's fucking good, man. Good. I'm glad. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, no, it was fun as well. It was weird though when I was asked like, "Oh, do you want some professional photos taken?" I'm like, "How the fuck do I get? I don't deserve this." It's like, what the fuck?
We'll get Kyle to take some this Saturday.
Shit, I gotta cut my hair then. Fuck. Right, well, that's something to add to the agenda. And obviously, before we wrap up, one final question. Obviously, this year we had the partnership with Valor and 3WL Backlash. I want to know, do you think maybe this can continue next year? Could we maybe see more partnerships in the future?
I hope so. There's what's the word for it? There's a lot of irons in the fire of various different things that are going on that I still don't really know what's going on with any of it. Cat snoring in the background. Yeah, but I mean, partnerships and stuff. Yeah, hopefully it's always good to do stuff. But yeah, there's a few various different things that might be more American based than UK based, but always happy to do stuff with Valor and W3L and stuff like that because they're always good to me, and always happy to help them out with whatever. But yeah, always look forward to doing more stuff anywhere as long as it benefits Bleeding Gums Wrestling. I'm only joking, but it's always nice to for these sort of things to pop up. Random people messaging you, and you're like, "What? Me? Why?" But no. But it's good. But yeah, a few things on the horizon, but nothing concrete yet.
Absolutely. Always look to the yonder because you never know what's going to turn up. That'll probably be Pro Glass, Pro Wrestling, and obviously Pro Blood because that's what Bleeding Gums is all about. Well, obviously, folks, if you're able to, September 14th, Double Death Day, 1 p.m. the afternoon show, Caution Death May Hazardous to Your Health, and 6 p.m. for the evening show, which is Death to Art. There's obviously tickets. VIP per show is $45. Combo VIP is $75. General admission 60 is a combo, and general admission for each show will be £35.
VIP is sold out though. However,
so VIP is sold out. So those lucky fans, they get like a package, correct, with some
seats. Imagine seats on a show. Imagine that. No, you get for the VIP stuff, you get a seat, you get a signed poster per show. The people that are on the posters and stuff like that. I know that Joel, Jasmin, Tremont, Casey, and all these other people have all their other stuff. They can charge. I don't interfere with wrestlers and what they do with their merchandise. I don't care. They do whatever they want. They charge whatever they want. But if you VIP tickets, you get a seat, you get an early, you get to meet and greet with the American talent and the other people who are there. Jasmin St.Clare, Joel Bateman, blah blah blah. We also got a signed poster per show of all the people that are there and signed for you. Because if you're going to have to ask them individually, they'll probably charge you. I'm not going to say it's a large fee, but it just means if you're VIP, that's already thrown in that you've already got a signed poster from somebody like Matt Tremont, who's probably, I mean, I don't even know how many more years he's going to be wrestling for. So this might be the only time he's ever in fucking Scotland, which is bizarre and strange and horrible to me, but that's good.
Well, hey, absolutely. You're a history-making promotion, mate. Obviously, the No Ropes death match was the first in the Scars in Scotland. It was the accolade.
Yeah. First in Scotland. We did the first ever 200 light tube in Scotland. We're doing the second ever 200 light tube death match in Scotland, and I believe this is the 5th 200 light tube, or either the 5th or 4th 200 light tube death match in UK history, with Iceman and Matt Tremont. But yeah, we've got a lot of shit. There's a lot of shit going on. There's a lot of fucking death matches. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a long fucking violent bloody day of death matches. And we're also going to have like 2 non-death matches if that's what people want to come and see. We do have Leonardo Darwin versus Davey Blaze on the afternoon show, which won't be a death match. And we also have the very good Mr. Ewan Mackey wrestling Cody Manhorn, which will not be a death match on the evening show. Yeah, but I think for anybody that's going to be coming to both shows, I think we aim to kind of wrap up the afternoon, I would say, for maybe 4:30. Okay. And then we'll have the sort of break in the middle. I'm sure there'll be wrestlers wandering around and take pictures and chat to everyone and blah, blah, blah. But it gives people a chance to actually maybe, like, you know, go and get some food down the high street or grab some drinks or fucking do this or do that. But I think that the bar will be shut in between the 2 shows. And then it will give us time to set up for 6 o'clock for the evening show. But the VIPs will get in at 12, and then general admission will be 12:30.
Gotcha.
and then same as well for the. So it'll be 5 and then 5:30 into 6. But yeah, a fun old time.
A fun old time indeed, mate. And then you get to take them out and see the castle where everybody's all bruised and bleeding and in pain. It's like, yep,
That's the fun. A scary long day. But thanks to people like yourself and Mark Leslie and Brian, we should be all right. And Steve Dean and the Wizard and whatnot as well. So
absolutely, mate. You know I'm good with a mop and a broom. You know I can brush things up pretty well and work Spotify pretty fucking well. Well, except I didn't like that last time.
We'll get Mark to the Spotify. Well, not the Spotify, the non-Spotify, but
the non-Spotify. Apple Music. There we go. We'll use Apple fucking Music.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, but thanks for having me on. But I do have the 2 flags there. I'm not going to turn my PC around to try and see them, but I don't know what I'm going to do with the flags. We do have Ellie. Shout to Ellie, who's made me a painting. I don't know if you've seen that. A big painting of a skull that's covered in blood that says "Death to Art" in it that we're going to raffle off. I think probably in between the shows, maybe, or something like that. But I do have flags and T-shirts and hoodies, and we've got the new orange fucking Death to Art T-shirts and shit. All the boys and girls and whatnot will have many things for people to buy. So yeah, it should be good. But yeah, Double Death Day. I would say probably, and I know a tiny little bit about deathmatch wrestling, probably one of the biggest days in deathmatch history in the UK. Easily. Full fucking day of deathmatch. It's a big deal, and I'm glad that everybody's sort of coming out for it. So yeah, let's have some fun. I'll try not to get too stressed out. I know I will. I know I'll be worried and fucking panicking and stressed like fuck the entire day, but let's do it. Let's make some history.
Exactly, and I'll be there. I can just feed you pints and keep you straight as always, because obviously
we do also have a buffet backstage.
Oh fuck yeah!
But bear in mind, I don't know what that means.
Oh,
I've been told by the hotel they were like, we can put a buffet on for you backstage for the boys, and I was like, okay. I was like, yeah, let's do that. But like, I don't know if that means it's going to be like, you know, like caviar and you know all that, or if it's just going to be like, you know, sausage rolls and some sandwiches. But either or, there's going to be scramble, because I said that to them. I was like, if we're going to be doing a full day, that the people are going to need some munchies, to keep their energy up and whatnot. But I'll buy beer for backstage and shit anyway. But
sick.
All good.
All good indeed, my friend. All good indeed. And of course, folks, I will include Bleeding Gums Wrestling Instagram down below. You can click on that, and there'll be a link for obviously the tickets and all that. They're obviously on Eventbrite as well, so people can get tickets there. Mm-hmm. Turn up for this fun show, because I'm going to be there. Because if I miss another one, I think Andy's going to struck me off. So I can't.
You were in Mexico. It's not your fault.
I know.
Just www.bleedinggumswrestling.co.uk for everything. The minute you open the page, there's a link. All our tickets are via Eventbrite, and it should be an interesting day of deathmatch and violence, and it should be fun.
Absolutely, my friend. Well, folks, finish up your pints, put your chairs away. It's been another episode of the Soul Sessions, of course, with always Bleeding Gums Wrestling.